today. Yeah, goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, put right in, and cross its way under your skin. Just got out from the things they spout, and it will make you shout. Give me that good news.
Good news. Here it is, The Grounds with Giles and Jones. We're ready to roll, and it's being brought to you today by Cannabis CBD Shop. Cannabis CBD Shop offers quality, affordable, convenient products. Their mission is to provide an alternative, natural way of healing without using industrialized pharmaceuticals. They offer a broad array of hemp products to address a wide variety of ailments. Their team will guide you through your options to make sure that you are comfortable with your purchase. Visit them at 818 Front Street, McHenry, Illinois, 60050, or at Cannabis CBD Shop, 815-687-2608. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, and welcome back, Pete.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back.
We missed you last week. I guess the whole Fiesta Day celebration and stuff just tore you up, right?
It wore me up, and then we had to move our daughter to grad school down in Bloomington, Indiana. And
how did that work out?
Ultimately, fine and dandy. It was U-Haul to the rescue. And by the way, if you guys don't know, if you're doing more than 200 miles, U-Haul has special rates. Like just a wonderful little plug. And we got 600 miles for $225 for 24 hours. We had a 9-foot cargo van, fit her in all the furniture for her little studio apartment, bed, desk, sofa, chairs, everything, kitchen table, and a 9-foot cargo van. Drove it all the way to Indiana and back in a 24-hour period.
Yay.
597 miles, and I did not have to pay any extra mileage. By the way, the extra mileage over that 600-mile was only 29 cents a mile, so I wasn't too worried about it. But the U-Haul to the rescue.
Wow. We just actually used the U-Haul myself. We just moved my son back from school yesterday, actually. Well, we went down Wednesday. Stayed over Wednesday night, raised some hell in Iowa City. Go Hawks. And not as much as I wanted to. I said I wanted to really go out with a big bang for him over there, and that's more so for me than anything.
Right. Yeah.
But we didn't get a big bang, but we did have a good time. Went out for some cocktails.
Yeah. And I did the U-Haul yesterday as we moved Ashley from Arlington Heights.
Oh, did you really? Oh my God, it's a U-Haul weekend.
U-Haul weekend. We're gonna have to hit U-Haul up now because they've just gotten a ton of free.
That's right.
Free advertising here.
So I mean, how did
your move go for Ashley?
Oh, I worked half the day because here's what Dad did. Me being Dad, is she got her master's and I knew they were moving, so I was like, listen. I reached out to Vicky Boxleiter over at University Movers. And I said, hey, Vicky, I got my daughter. She's got about 800 square foot apartment. She's moving from here to here. She gave me the price, really, really good price. I said, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of the first 3 hours. So it was like $480. You just have your thing packed up. They'll do all the moving.
Wow.
If it goes over 3 hours, then it's $120 an hour. Very, very reasonable. I said, you take care of any overages. Thus, telling them to get ready. They chose not to take Dad's gift.
Really?
So I was like, okay. They're like, well, you're going to be there? I go, no, I have to work. It's Thursday. That's why I said I will hire a moving company for you.
Yeah.
But they chose not to. When I say they, she and my wife and her boyfriend, he said, not my wife's boyfriend. He didn't.
Well, as far as you know,
he didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. But so I was like, fine. So I did end up, working remotely for most of the day. I knocked off about 1, and then drove to Arlington Heights where they were still waiting to pack some stuff into my minivan.
Wow.
And then I drove the U-Haul down. But all I did was I just pulled stuff off of the trailer. You could see I hit my head a couple times.
Oh yeah, look at that red spot.
Hit my head a couple times on the top of that. So So
Was it as hot here as it was in Iowa City?
oh yeah,
My son and I must have lost 5 pounds
oh
each
just
with the
just
sweat.
sitting there sweating. Yeah, and I see, but I'm a fat bald guy, so fat bald guys never go anywhere without a towel. So I always have a towel to wet my sweat because that's what fat bald guys do.
I just took my shirt off and walked around the college campus, and
That's
I'm sure
it,
all
Eddie,
the
good
girls were
morning.
appreciative of that.
I don't ever let the great white out. That's for sure.
No,
Yeah.
whatever, dude. You are who you are.
Well, you're a
That's what
boat
it is.
guy, so you got a nice tan.
Yeah,
my
there
gut,
you go.
my gut is too big and it's white, so that's why I call
So
it the
then maybe
great
you
white.
should come out on the boat.
Ah.
Maybe you should come out on the boat and get a little tan going
Yeah,
there.
oh, it'll burn.
No better way to
It'll
relax.
burn like a crispy critter. That's
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
I never pull the keg out either.
Yeah. No.
No.
We'll keep
No.
it covered.
Nobody wants to
Life's
see
too
that.
short, guys. Who gives a shit?
That's well.
Well, mine will burn.
Yeah, you're
Well,
ginger.
they
yeah.
do make
I-
lotions for that.
Oh, I believe me. I use the heck out of SPF 100 and 150, and my arms from Fiesta Days and everything are still
But I will
a
say
little pink.
the hierarchy of vegan Delta 8
Oh,
THC gummies do help for pains and of moving. It is great just to relax with one of these afterwards. And
Yeah, it's one of the newer
Yeah.
products that we've
No-
got down.
no.
at
Now, I
Cannabis.
will tell you, because CBD Cannabis is sponsoring, and you left a wonderful bag on my desk.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was awesome. And the doggies are enjoying that. But you had 2 little CBD lotion things in there.
Yeah, topical.
Well,
Yep.
over this past week, I did have a touch of the gout. So I'm like, I'll give it a shot. It actually helped. I was
I
surprised.
like when he says it actually, right?
that's
and that's okay. And that's okay
Well, I
because
did words.
you've never used it before, so most people are skeptical about
I
what
was-
CBD will
I
do
was
for them.
very skeptical. Wow.
Skeptical.
Skeptical.
That's not in the dictionary.
Yeah, he just must have had one of these.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Very skeptical. And because I actually tried, because you gave me a CBD gummy with melanin in it.
Melatonin,
before.
yeah.
Melatonin,
Melatonin.
not
Right.
melanin.
Melanin. Yeah. So
Wow.
Pete's dying today on
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Wow.
that's why we don't
I
smoke
need
our
more
breakfast.
coffee. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh. You know what? I'm just going to stop talking. Let's welcome Gary. Gary Ong. to the
Hey,
show.
all the way from
Gary,
Singapore.
Good morning.
Good evening.
Yes.
That's right. Good evening over there in Singapore, right? Oh,
Just enjoying the Olympics.
Nah, I'm not really a big Olympics fan. Football, yes. Soccer, yes. But Olympics, nah.
I hear you. I hear you. You get all your packing done?
Oh, no, I'm just doing sometimes we just do some minor movement of things here and there. Yeah, but not. If we're gonna stay put here, so it's fine.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Glad to have you on the show, brother.
yeah, welcome
Yeah,
back.
fine.
It's been a couple weeks since we've seen you. So,
Well, there you had the European Cup Championships, and you have this and that, and that European Cup Championship was a month. I mean, it was like June 4th to July 4th, I think, the whole championship.
Yeah.
And I was watching it. I was watching every single match. So, which means
Wow.
the earliest match you have here was actually at 3 a.m. and then at 1 a.m. and then the next match will be at 3 a.m. So, and if he has a third match, it'll be, so it's kind of like, the whole biorhythm was upside down.
Yeah, that is a junkie right there. That's a soccer junkie right there.
right.
Or football junkie. Hey, just a quick question. How's the Delta variant over there in Singapore?
Okay, wait. So interesting that because I saw the title Delta Variance. So
That's a great
So-
movie, by the way. The Delta Force.
Delta Force.
Delta
Kind of all
Force,
made up, right?
Chuck Norris,
That's it. Jack Norris, yeah.
Chuck Norris, and I think was it Burt I don't know. Was it Burt Lancaster or was it the other actor? I think
Charlie Sheen.
No,
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't Charlie. That's
No.
Delta Farce.
that's Delta
yeah,
Farce.
Delta
Delta
Farce.
Farce.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what instead of the Delta variant, they should call it the Delta,
Delta farce.
farce. It's become this political pandemic
Right.
instead of a health pandemic.
Health
right?
issue, yeah.
So very interesting. Very interesting. You guys are talking about Delta variant. So we have that here almost. We had that first appeared here quite a few months already. I think it's at least about 4 months ago.
Mhm.
3 to 4 months ago. So it's been brought down under control, but that's because we ourselves have also been quick to react. I mean, any variants, as long as there's a case, we shut it down very fast. But what we can tell you is that it's highly highly contagious.
It is.
It spreads way much faster than the original variant, original DNA of the virus itself.
So the reason it probably, in my mind, and I think probably in our minds here, all of us, I think the reason it spread so fast is because it's really nothing more than like the common flu, common cold.
Okay.
I mean, it's
that's
a variant, and it's something that's moving around that we can't stop. You can't vaccinate against.
That's actually
it's
half of the
you
story.
can take care of yourself with.
Well, that's actually half of the story. When we say spread fast, we're not actually looking at only the physical transmission capability. No, that's just one half of the story. But what makes the variant kind of very tricky is that the incubation period of this variant is not the 14-day incubation period. So the original COVID one was that if you were affected with the virus on day one, within 14 days or after 14 days, the virus will shed itself off. And then that was the so-called the lifespan, if you want to put it. What we can tell you is that the Delta is actually 21 days.
21 days?
Yes, and that is why it caught us out because we were under our government was looking at the 14-day quarantine, 14-day stay-home notice. But then they noticed that for those that were released from quarantine or stay-home notice after 14 days, they were cleared on the 14th day. They did PCR test. I mean, they didn't even have any antibodies present. I mean, they were not infected at all. But within the next 7 to 8 days, they actually pick up the virus. So that turned out that actually it had a very tricky incubation period. I mean, remembering that a virus is a living thing, it is also evolving to try and survive given the environment. So hence what makes the Delta and that's why it spread so rapidly in other countries. And, a lot of countries are not prepared for it because they were still working on the assumption of a normal 14-day incubation period. And the other thing was that the Delta variant, the virus itself actually attacked more deeply into the respiratory system of the human body.
Mm-hmm. And how many, just out of curiosity, because you say that, it showed up there in Singapore about 4 months ago.
4 or 5 months ago, yeah.
4 or 5 months ago, and you guys have managed it. Which political party was for this Delta variant? Which one was against it?
You don't have to answer that in the fact that you might get yourself, in trouble being over there. So.
No, I'm not worried about that. I just worry about myself getting Epstein.
That's right. And that's what we were talking a little bit about in the green room. And I want to come back to you on that, Gary, for a minute. But is that the unfortunate thing is here in America when this virus attacked, first showed up, it became a political issue and not a health issue.
Yeah.
And now it's hard to help people understand it's a health issue. Right. But it's much like the flu. And what I mean by that, virus. And we have flu shots. And there are several people who have chosen not to take the flu shot. And that's fine. Basically, what that means is if you get the flu and you have the flu shot, you won't be as sick as so long. Right.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. I've never taken the flu shot.
I would not either. Your body's the one that should be fighting it off if you're eating properly and taking care of yourself.
Right. So the interesting
vitamin C.
The interesting thing is, you guys attack it very, very early. So did you go back to the mask mandate?
No, we've been having. Since day one last year, since the pandemic broke, we have been on mask all the way. There is no law. You are not allowed. You are not. We do not care regardless of whether it's indoors, outdoors, or whatever it is. The mask is the number one thing from March last year to now. It has never been touched at all. In fact, our government has said this will be the very last rule to be removed. If there's any breakthrough, it will be the last rule that will be removed. Anything, it will not be a rule that will be removed at any time until it is a very last rule to be removed. So the mask is compulsory. All right, there is no ifs, no buts. We are prosecuting people for not wearing a mask. We are now currently having one
Wow.
there's a British person who has been working here for coming to almost 2 years. So there's no excuse for him to say that he doesn't know that you have to wear a mask. He has
Right.
been here for 2 years, and he was caught on camera, on social media, going to our train systems, and then the local commuters told him to wear mask. He said, "No, it's fine. I'm totally against wearing masks. It's a political thing." Right? So basically, once the video was out, then he was just arrested within the next 2 days, and he's now he has been charged in court. We're just waiting for his sentencing. But he now says that, this is and he made quite a big meal out of it in the British newspaper because it's a British national. And but of course, the British, most of the British people were telling him that, look, you are in Rome, just do as the Romans do. That's not your former
Right.
colony. We are no longer your former colony in that sense. So
I mean, that's
you know,
kind of the thing, though, isn't it? When in Rome, do as the Romans
Yeah,
do. I
correct.
mean, if he wants to be in Singapore, he's got to follow your rules.
So right now he's turning around and saying that, and he's telling the newspapers now, "Oh no, look, now I just want to get this thing over with. I just want to leave the country now. I don't want to." And then we are saying, "No, hang on, we'll let you leave your country after you serve the sentence." That's as simple as that.
That's
Okay,
simple.
no ifs, no buts. We do not
Do
accept.
the crime. Yeah, do the
We
time.
do not accept this kind of nonsense from anybody local
Is it really
or
a crime, though? That's my
Yeah,
thing.
in Singapore it is.
In Singapore, it's a crime. Yes, it is a crime. It is a crime, and we already have dealt it with locals. So the rule is there, the regulation is there. You flout it, then you're asking for a 2-3 week jail. That's all. End of story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the deal is that there's going to be other, it's the Delta variants now, and then it's going to be the
Epsilon variants.
Epsilon variants, the
Yes.
Klingon
Crazy thing,
variants.
the Klingon variant.
Yeah.
Which the thing for me is just they already know, they're already
Right.
naming, and I think
Yeah.
it has become
Right.
I actually since
So-
day one a political play.
It is here in the
And
United
there's-
States.
Most
for sure.
people are so gullible, I guess maybe is the word, and maybe not gullible, but just they're not getting the proper information to really
Yeah.
accurate decisions.
Well, and that's
to
why
live their life.
and that's why people outside of the United States don't put a lot of weight on the CDC.
Yes, correct. There's been some talk among the locals saying that in the US CDC is saying that you need to only mask yourself indoors and when you're outside. And then our Ministry of Health says that no, that's the US, that's not us. So they can say and do what they want. We will go by our own environment and our own situation.
Yeah.
We are not beholden to the CDC for this sort of thing.
And your country should. I mean, you guys should decide what works for Singapore, and and here in the U.S., well, that's what we have. We have the CDC, we have our health departments, we have the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and it seems no one has completely figured anything out. And even I have talked with actual virologists and have learned that the cloth masks that we wear, and I don't know what you wear there in Singapore, but
the usual, either the cloth or the regular.
the regular
mask.
is about, for the virus, is about the equivalent of putting up a chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out.
Right.
So
Yes, completely ineffective.
It just, I mean, do what you want to do, be what you want to be, and here in the U.S., though, I'm just myself. And I speak only for myself, Uncle Pete here. I'm just kind of done with all of it.
It's a compliance.
I've never gotten a flu shot. I rarely get ill. I have not even come close to getting sick with this whole thing. And I've been around people who have been diagnosed with COVID, and I've been fine and dandy.
Actually, it'll be surprising for you to know that here in Singapore, actually a very, very large majority, I would say, based on statistics, probably around 80% of Singaporeans actually do not touch flu shots. We actually do not.
In my opinion.
Right. We should start be careful with that. But like Shayna here just came across and says, she said, start throwing allegedly or theoretically in front of many of these statements. Clean, uncensored data regarding the multitude of variants, even if assumed accurate, haven't played out long enough, in my opinion. which I think so too. And I think it's been played out long enough in the government's opinion, in the government. I mean, they know what they're doing. They've got this planned out. It's a political, play. It's not that it's not real, but it's got never, because a lot of people aren't.
So,
like Kent said earlier, this is from the get-go. This was a political pandemic, not
in America.
In America, here in the United States of America, it's been a political, not a health.
Correct.
I think if this should have been handled so much
the
differently.
The swine flu was a health issue. Those
Ebola was a health issue.
Yeah, Ebola,
right.
And it got taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
And right now we are reading reports that the US is now experiencing monkeypox in certain areas.
Yeah,
that's like
hey, we got
200 old cases. It's like to us in Singapore, it's like, what the hell? We do not have such a thing. And how the hell did monkeypox come about into the picture?
Hey, apparently it came through Nigerian immigrants who crossed the southern border illegally here in the U.S. That's the story that we've got.
What border?
Yeah, that's the story that was
The
published.
Rio Grande.
Come on down, folks. We've got your monkeypox right here, free of charge.
Yeah.
Get all
You all come back now. You're here.
So Tim asks, where do you source your information from versus the gullible people?
For me,
yeah.
Well, I get it from talking to a lot of different people. I get it from different, I don't want to say websites. I don't listen to the news. I think the news is just a bunch of crap. It's politically charged, depending on which news site you listen to.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of educated people. I talk to, regular doctor practitioners. I talk to holistic practitioners. I talk to myself, which I answer my questions a lot of times.
As long as you're not arguing with yourself.
I don't argue with myself that much, but one thing I will pride myself on is I surround myself with a lot of intelligent people. I don't call myself intelligent. I call myself smart. I call myself, I'm able to weed through a lot of stuff.
Right.
I'm not conventional in the mainstream by any means, but I talk to people that have had it. I've got, my brother's a doctor, my wife's a nurse, my daughter's a nurse, my niece is a geneticist. When
you understand it's a health issue, right, and not a political issue, I don't get mad at you for smoking cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes causes cancer,
and that's your
choice. It says it right on the pack. Right. No, that's you've chosen to deal with your health that way,
right? And you have all the data that supports that, and so it's your choice.
You don't get mad at me either when you don't get mad at me either while I'm rolling around in a Big Mac, right? And I am quote unquote according to my according to my Samsung Health, I'm obese. Right.
Well, if you do
so, but you don't get mad at me.
According to this chair over here, I'm obese.
Right. I mean, you don't keep 6 feet away from me because I'm obese.
Right.
I might catch your fat.
Right.
I got enough.
Right.
Oh
no! Spitting out your fats on me.
I think what I'm tired of is the arguments on people getting mad because I have chosen or not chosen to be vaccinated. Right. Now,
it's your choice. That's the thing now that they're saying the reason we're having such a resurgence is because of the unvaccinated people.
No, because a lot of the people who are vaccinated are also acquiring it. I was going to say,
how many people I know that got I can't use the word
Delta
vaccinated.
Variance. That is
no, but I can't use vaccinated because you can't vaccinate against virus. But how many people that have gotten the shot,
correct,
that have gotten sick a second time?
Yeah,
I have one of my tenants. He's got it 3 times, and he's done. He's done the shot, He
got the shot 3 times?
He got the shot, but he's gotten it 3 times. So, and it's like...
He got the shot 3 times.
No. He got he got COVID 3 times. First time he got it regular, just the typical way. Then he got his vaccination. Okay, I'm going to use that word because that's how he put his vaccination. I said, how did that work for you? Well, I'm back in the hospital. He has poor health to begin with.
Well, sure.
He's not taking care of himself. And I feel horrible for that person, right? But once again, like you use the Big Mac scenario, right? If you're not taking care of yourself correctly, okay, it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to put vitamin C and vitamin D in your morning routine, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And granted, there
I
are
was just
people that,
gonna say
and
that.
compromise, right? So I'm not speaking for everybody, and please don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to
Right.
call everybody gullible, right, or ignorant. But what I'm saying is the majority of our population is. They're not really. They're relying on somebody else to tell them what they should and shouldn't do, what they should and shouldn't believe, and a lot of it is politically motivated.
Correct.
It's real.
And-
It happens. People are getting sick, and people do die from it.
Yep.
But there are a ton of other things out there that are real that people get sick from and people die from because they're not taking
Well,
care
sure.
of themselves.
Area 51.
Yeah, Area 51. All I'm saying is, you know what? If you're gonna do
In my
something,
opinion.
and if
In
you're
my
gonna
opinion.
say that I'm a bad person if I choose not to get
In my
myself a
opinion,
shot,
you're not.
right? It's my life, though, right? And
Yeah, absolutely.
how am I affecting other people? How if I've got the shot, if somebody's got the shot, and I didn't get the shot.
So
per
the
se, let's
interesting
say,
thing-
how am I'm getting you sick? But wait, you should be safe. But
The
wait, put on a
interesting-
paper mask that's going to do nothing for you
Here's-
except stop you from spitting on me.
Here's what I find interesting here in America.
America.
Is
America.
I'm starting not
Listen,
wanting to say America anymore.
here's what I love. If we rewind to about 2019, the people who were yelling at those who didn't, oh, you anti-vaxxers, you got to get oh, come on, are the same people today going, I'm not getting vaccinated.
Well, because they're seeing all the problems it's causing.
And I'm just sitting here like, oh, how the tables turn and the shoe fits, right? You know, so you kind of look at it and go, all right, so which is it? You were just yelling 2 years ago at the people who didn't
They
want to
educated themselves.
to get vaccinated. Yet, you're the one, and the
Right.
people who didn't want to get vaccinated are like, yeah, I want to
Well,
vaccinate. I don't want
So
COVID.
they're educating themselves, right?
Huh?
Right. So, like, I'm not.
So they weren't before.
Right. Well, they weren't. They were listening to what everyone else told them. A lot of people put a ton of weight on the World Health Organization, the CDC. Granted, these I can't say they're bad. They're not bad, right? But
Correct.
they've just like any politician, they have lost their way, right? It used to be
It's all
about
about
taking
money.
care
Follow
of the
the
great,
money.
right? Isn't it right? Follow the money. Isn't it always about, for me at least, it's always about the greater good, right? I'm going to do something, obviously, starting for the greater good for me, my family, my friends, and the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it in that way, we would be in a lot better shape, because if you're taking care of your family,
Yeah.
right, or you take care of yourself first, like in an airplane, right? Put your mask on before you help anybody else. Help yourself, take care of yourself, help your family, help your friends, and go so on down the line. We would be in much better shape. But this world has become all about me and only me in a
Yeah.
lot of respects. And that's where the politicians have realized that these people are paying attention. They're going, oh my God. So now they're slating everybody against each other because I didn't do something that you didn't want to do.
No, and what has happened is our social media platforms have allowed you to be upset that you put your mask on your child before you did. And now I'm going to take my mask off, walk up to you and say, you did it wrong. You shouldn't have done it that way. And in the past, when I would just mention that to Pete at lunch, it would be said,
Wait, you go to lunch with Pete?
it would be said, it would be said to Pete, and then it would be dropped. The
Right.
issue is now on social media, 14 other people with the same idea jump on and start arguing that, how could you put the oxygen mask on your child first when it specifically says do it to yourself first? Right.
How about right? Yeah. How about just you do what works? Like my son has always had this comment: you do you.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do what works for me, because I'm a little, even though we're all human, we're all a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
So I know
But-
what I need to do every day for me.
Right. And to the people who will argue that, but with you're not getting vaccinated puts my health at jeopardy. Now, hold it right there with that train of thought. Does it really? When you're out and about, because of the type of person you are, you're very conscious of the people around you. I'm going to guess, and we haven't been in a public place together, that you're keeping 6 feet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're thinking about that the whole time. So even if you haven't been vaccinated, air quotes, right,
A shot.
is you're still very cognizant of the people's health around you, how
Right.
they feel. They're, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm very respect.
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
if you choose to do something, I respect that. If you have the proper knowledge, if you've educated
Right.
yourself, and you
You
make
still-
that decision on an educated decision, not because someone told you to do it.
Right. You still have the cleaning supplies in all of your businesses. You do the right
Yeah, I
thing.
still all the businesses we
absolutely.
still have hand sanitizer. If you want to wear your mask, we don't require it, But if like someone
If you
comes
want
into the
to,
store,
wonderful.
like we have people come into the stores, right? And some will be wearing a mask. And so our first question out of our employees, or we call them our retail rock stars, is, would you like for me to wear your mask? Because we do want them to feel comfortable. Obviously,
Right.
It's customer service in any business that you have.
Bottom
it's
line.
about, right? So
Yep.
would you feel more comfortable if we put on a mask? At that point, because we are serving the masses, right?
Yeah.
That we have to be respectful and responsible to
That's right.
make them feel like, that they do matter, because they do matter.
That's right.
So I'll put it on for them if that makes them feel better. And then they're also going to do what's right once the whole thing comes to fruition and everyone really knows what's really going on here. They're going to also really appreciate anybody and everybody that's kind of tried to be, I hate to use the word normal. So
Shayna's got a nice comment. And then Tim Santos
Shayna, all right,
has an interesting thing now too. But Shayna, it's just like anything else. Until it comes to your door, you only have an opinion. After that, you have an experience.
Yeah.
I have been one of those nutcases that read the Vax inserts before it was cool. Because it's so cool to read Vax inserts nowadays. Do you, people? Here, immunity is an accepted theory, not fact, which is true. It's her, and maybe that was herd immunity she meant. And then Tim says, how is the vaccination politically charged when Operation Warp Speed was created under President Trump to create a vaccine as quickly as possible, presumably to do with it the exact same thing that is being done now under President Biden? And I can answer that for you, Tim, very simply. When Trump was organizing this, we had all kinds of video of Biden himself and Kamala,
Chameleon.
the co-president,
the chameleon,
Vice President Harris,
the co-president, saying under absolutely no circumstance would they take a vaccine
shot
that had not been properly tested and gone through all the processes that were required by the FDA,
CDC.
CDC.
Right.
Now they've completely flip-flopped on that. So that's how that gets politicized. And again, it depends on which party is in power and what's popular for them to say.
Not necessarily.
And what fits.
For me, it's not about a party. For me, I don't look at it as a party thing per se, right? I look at it, it's politically motivated, which will help out certain people, businesses.
Here's what I want to help people understand as well. There are things called presidential briefings that before I'm the president, I don't have that information. I become president. Now I've got information, and my opinion may change very quickly.
Well, your opinion can change daily with your information.
So the flip-flop comes from perhaps I didn't have the information that President Trump had. And while I was trying to run, I wanted to make that sitting president look not smart.
They did a good job.
And now, he did too. And
he did too. That's true.
And now I get information that it's not necessarily open to the public because, believe it or not, people, the United States government does not let you in on all. They
let you
many,
in on what
many
they want.
things.
They let you in on what they want you to know, and that's where actually
that
getting your own
can
information
come very quickly by crap. That's what's in that little black file.
Right. So you don't know. Yeah, exactly. You don't know
vaccine, right?
What we learn and what they tell us is what they want us to know. Right.
Correct.
That's where you need to actually learn how to do your own research. And, just like anything, do your own research. Where you want to send your kid to school, where you want them to live, where do you want to live?
Okay, so Tim, good question. Has the vaccine not been approved by the CDC? The vaccines that are out there are still under an emergency use authorization. There, it's a EUA.
Right.
There has not been any test trial nor test approval. All of you who are taking the vaccine are the test trial.
What the CDC and the WHO have said is that what the vaccines do, the shots do, is they're they're stronger to the positive side to help you than they are to negative side of side effects and things like that.
Which is what they know right now, based
Right.
on the very limited amount of data that they do have.
But with an with an emergency use with the EUA, once this pandemic has come to a stop, those vaccines cannot be used any longer.
And
Correct.
here's the thing
longer.
that a lot of people also, well, I guess anyone who's gotten the shot knows this. Think about this one. Why in the world, and I'm going to actually say, why in God's name, do you have to sign a piece of paper that says, I'm going to give this to you that's going to help you, but if it screws you up and it kills you or you get sicker because of it, you can't come back and sue us.
Well, that's because it's a EUA.
But that's
Right.
on any, I'm going to use the word vaccine, but that's any vaccine, because basically what they're saying is they don't know, but to the best of their knowledge,
Well,
this may
sure.
help.
So,
This may help,
but
or it may, as a
research,
teenager, give you heart problems.
research and science has shown that the vaccines that people take, polio, mumps, measles, things like that, again, the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah,
However,
correct.
go ahead, Gary.
Perhaps I'll offer some perspective from our country, from Singapore's perspective. So we are a pretty small country. Just to let you have an understanding of how dense we are. We are 5.7 million population, but the density of Singapore, I think we are the third or fourth most densely populated country in the entire world. We have about 21,000 people per square mile here in Singapore.
Per square mile?
Yeah.
Yes, we're talking about
I'm not
per
gonna be
square
visiting
mile.
Singapore.
So if you're talking about
I'm
Big Apple,
claustrophobic.
the Big Apple doesn't hold a candle against us in terms of population density.
No,
So you can imagine that with 21,000 people per square mile, the chance of transmission of any virus is tenfold, 30-fold, 50-fold as compared to the situation in the US, especially if you are in a very big state, in a very broad expanse state like cancers or things like cancers or things like that. But in a small confined place, transmission becomes one of the vectors that we are very, very concerned about. So I think here in Singapore, vaccination has been a part of our life since we became independent. So there are two mandatory vaccinations for every Singapore child, and that's diphtheria and measles. These are you cannot say no, right? It's against the law. These are compulsory vaccinations for every single child from the moment they are born. So hence we have faith in that, because for the last 56 years of our independence, we have currently no measles, no diphtheria. We have other vaccines. We also have other vaccines like what Ken mentioned, polio, mumps, hepatitis B, and we don't have polio here. I mean, basically, the Singapore Polio Society doesn't have much business to do actually in the last 10, 20 years. So vaccination to us is, most of us accept vaccination because it's been medically proven to help us given our tight population mass. So at the current moment, we are only having two brands of vaccines for the COVID that are approved by the Singapore government. So our Ministry of Health does our own test. So the US may have done the Pfizer earlier shots, but we actually still did not issue the shots yet because we're still going through our own tests internally, by the trial. So currently we have Pfizer and Moderna that's under the National Vaccination Program, so given free of charge to every Singapore citizen. We're also giving it to any permanent residents, any foreigners who are working in Singapore. We're giving it to them. We are not discriminating against anybody. As long as you are in Singapore, you get it. Whether you are a foreign domestic worker or whether you are a local Singapore citizen, we open it and it's free of charge.
Yeah.
At this point in time, as of today or as of yesterday, we have already have 3.2 million people in Singapore that are fully vaccinated with 2 doses of Pfizer or Moderna, and we have, including in total, we have 4.2 people that have taken the first dose. So out of the 4.2, we have 3.2 that have million that have the second dose. So we have 1 million people in Singapore with only the first dose. They're waiting the second dose. And of course, we want to hope to ramp it up to 70%. So we are actually on track to get, by end of August, 75 to 80% of the population vaccinated here in Singapore. Now,
Mhm.
how much faith do we have in the vaccine? Well, I put it this way: we have about 65,000 cases of COVID here in Singapore. The total number of deaths from last year to now is only 37. And out of the 65,000 COVID cases, 64,730 are fully recovered.
Yeah.
So that's how much faith we actually put into the vaccination, because we are not experiencing the major deaths that every other country is experiencing, even though we actually have quite a fairly
And they're so
high number.
in there
Yeah.
too.
Right.
Yeah. So, Tim, that's a good point. Tim Santos says that when talking about doing your own research, I asked my doctor if CBD is beneficial for some ailments that CBD is claimed to help. And of course, today brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Cannabis.
CBD, right?
That's it. She says CBD is bullshit. Obviously, Scott would likely disagree. Doing your own research will usually only support your current belief, or it's disregarded as political or unbelievable for whatever reason you come up with. Now, let me challenge you that a little bit on that, Tim. Is many medical doctors, again, are getting paid from big pharma.
Big time. Huge.
And so there are also a lot of medical doctors who disagree with holistic doctors.
A lot more than you would imagine.
And there are many medical doctors who disagree and say that chiropractic is a quack too. Right?
Because they don't know how to. That's not their forte.
Correct. So, as Scott had said, and I'm going to back Scott a little bit on this, is he said, I talk to doctors, I talk to medical doctors, I talk to holistic doctors, I talk to scientists.
Right.
And so that's a wide range.
Yeah, I just don't go with one avenue. I go for a bunch of different areas.
And you know what? To the point that I'll make as well is, pot for me is you smoke it, you get ripped, you sit there, and if you see headlights in your rearview mirror, you think it's a cop. I mean,
Right.
that's what marijuana is to me. However, marijuana to some people is a painkiller. And now we have medicinal marijuana, which I sit there and go, that's a bunch of horse shit, right? But that's me. Now, I've done research both ways, but what I understand pot to be is, throw on a little bit of Ozzy Osbourne and, choke up. Right?
Well, here, that's funny you say that, because here's the thing. Everybody knows, let's just say out of 10 people that you know,
Mhm.
right? Probably 7 to 8 of them smoke marijuana or use hemp, right? For specific reasons or ailments.
Yeah.
And most people don't tell you. It's becoming more widely accepted. But here's the thing, and I try to explain to people, the doctor, I would actually love to know who she is. I'd love to sit down and talk with her and have her, give me her reasoning. But most people are using marijuana because of the CBD that's in it, which is a natural anti-inflammatory.
Right.
Okay, Tim, any illness we have, I don't care what it is inflammation, right? And to keep the inflammation down is key to keep whatever illness at bay. You can, like you said, you can always have an argument to or fro on anything, but really the facts support it. The science, if you want to go from the CDC standpoint, it supports what's going on. What they're asking us to do is not supported. Right, they're just guessing. And I get it. I mean, you have to take a guess. You have to learn. It takes time. But mandating or, doing all this to people and not really knowing the results that, hey, this could kill you or it could help you. I would rather take my chance, right? And
well, that's your choice.
That's my choice. Right. I would rather take the chance. But when you know something, it's been around. See, like CBD has been around and hemp has been around and marijuana has been around since the start of time. Yeah. Right. It's a natural herb. It's something that nobody manufactures.
It's actually what Adam and Eve covered themselves with. Right. It wasn't a fig leaf.
But it's
actually a marijuana leaf.
And it's, right. And like Shayna says, Tim Santos, if you had a personal experience with CBD and it was positive, would you still believe her? So, and that's the one thing is you have to try things to find out what does work for you.
Well, and here's the thing too, because I made that comment earlier that I was surprised that it worked.
Right.
But I had actually called my brother, who is a surgeon.
Right. And
I said, okay, bro, I know that you don't ever get rid of gout, and gout sucks. I had a bit of an inflammation this week of the gout, and it does literally swell.
That's what it is.
It gets red, it swells, it hurts like a
morning, Lisa.
And I said,
that's
okay,
what she said.
I've got some CBD stuff that's like a roll-on that
I gave you one of the topical roll-ons.
Topical
for pain.
roll-on.
Yep.
And my brother did say, and again, he's a surgeon. He said, well, CBD itself he said exactly what you said. It's a natural anti-inflammatory.
Correct.
He said, give it a shot. It's not going to hurt you.
Right.
And so
it worked, right?
And it actually, I'm
you used the word actually. That's great because you have some questions about it.
Because I rolled it on because it was on my freaking big toe and the toe joint right there, and it was all swollen and red. I rubbed it on there. About 20-25 minutes later, the pain was noticeably less and the inflammation did noticeably go down.
Right.
And I've been rubbing it all over my stomach because I figured I can't lose it weight. That's
not inflammation, sir. That's not inflammation. But
I need that swelling to go down.
Be my next step too.
I need the swelling to go down.
That's indigestion. That's not inflammation.
I'll tell you what. Going back to Tim is a couple years ago, Tim, I would have said horse pucky to this, right?
Sure.
I found CBD on a whim. At Fantasy Factory when I bought that store. They left behind, of all things, a jar of honey sticks with CBD.
It's so good.
Right? Yeah, they're amazing, right? I laughed. I'm like, I left them on the counter because people were buying them. I didn't understand it. And then I do have anxiety issues. So I was having it. Yeah. And well, we all do have anxiety, but mine's a little bit over the top, right? So I unfortunately had to go in to start taking pharmaceuticals to mellow me out. And I didn't have my medication with me that day. I took one of those, and within 15 minutes, I felt like a new person.
Yeah.
So my experience obviously was positive. And then I started doing the research and understanding what behind it and what works and how it's worked for me.
He goes straight for the THC, not the CBD.
Yeah.
Inflammation or inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine might be inflation.
Well, here, what Tim Santos says, I don't use CBD. I go for the real thing. I was just suggesting that you do your own research doesn't mean the info you receive is better than the information you just were given. Right. Yes. And no, I totally understand that. But if you really look at it, I don't know why you're using, the real thing, if you will say, but
because, man, he's
listening
to Ozzy Osbourne.
Right. But if you take out the psychotropic,
he's probably a food fighter.
Some people want the psychotropic, which is the head buzz to really,
I don't like that
create.
At all. I don't like
some
that.
Don't. Some do. Some don't. Yeah. But the major effects is the mellow and the chill and the relaxation.
If you want to see what THC does to you, just tune in to last week's episode of Bridging Civil Tension. Pete's like, that's the first time I've heard
all about the crazy train.
It wasn't because it was a great question. It was because I was trying to catch up with the conversation because somebody dropped off these little gummies and I took one. And by the time Bridging,
that's the Delta 8,
and
not the Delta COVID
variants, I said, I was just there yesterday, and I got the gummies. I'm glad it wasn't THC, and I popped one of these. He goes, well, that is. So about halfway through Bridging Civil Tension, I was listening to Phil, and I was like, and somebody's like, oh man, he stumped you, and I'm like, I don't even know where we're at in this conversation.
Maybe I should take that jar home.
Right? I was like,
and so everything has its own use, right? And in some respects, it is a good thing for you to be able to shut your brain off like that.
Well,
right?
I don't like that at all.
No, but right, and that's the thing. I don't like that feeling. I like the relaxing. What CBD, when you don't have the THC in it,
correct,
gives you all the beautiful, wonderful benefits of relaxation, mellow, chill, putting you back in homeostasis.
The first couple times your mind's like, hey, your body's stoned. Why aren't I? And it's kind of trying to figure it out the first couple times. And then
your body's not even stoned. Your body's feeling the way it should feel because you're alleviating all the inflammation and stress that's just tearing you up.
Yeah. Shana says, I'm a knowledge junkie, and it was much easier to vet info online than it is now. I agree. Yeah. Well, everything now runs off the algorithm, and it supports your likes and dislikes. You don't get real
when
good
you
stuff.
Here's the thing, a lot of people won't dig hard online. You can go to the CDC, you can go to the FDA, you can go to almost every federal government agency, state agency. There are reports that they are required by law to publish. The legislation is there. They don't tell you about this.
Correct.
But you can go get event reports with regard to any type of disease, any type of medication that the CDC is working with under, and you can get all of the actual data. You have to know how to dig for it, where to look for it. No one will tell you this. You just have to learn it on your own by digging through.
Right.
And you can get all the kinds of information that's being reported, which is actual data that is being recorded and given that actually contradicts a lot of things that, again, politically are being said. So the stories, or narrative as you will, do not follow the raw data that has actually been recorded. And that's out of all of this, like Kent said, bothers me that this whole thing has been politicized versus just, here, folks, here is our data. Do with this what you will. Make your own decisions. Take care of your own health. I'm loading up. I always do. I take iron supplements every single day. I have to get oxygen to my brain. My body doesn't produce enough iron on its own, and I don't have a diet that does that. Iron takes oxygen to your brain and through your bloodstream. I do vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E.
And you should be taking
all
magnesium
of those things
as well.
And I do have a magnesium is a very small supplement
magnesium
part
is
of
involved
one of
in
the
every
things
chemical transfer in our
because
body.
I have a little green. There's a little green pill that I'd use for the iron, but it does have magnesium and a few other things in
you
it.
need
The
magnesium.
red or the green?
It's green.
Choose.
It's green, and
we need.
But at any rate, take care of your health. I mean, even to the point that I am a super fat fellow. I carry all my weight in my gut.
Super means his personality.
Yes,
Right.
I'm super.
But you're also
Thanks for asking.
You're also super knowledgeable. But so the thing that you just said, Pete, is actually something that's huge for me, and that a lot of people don't realize or even understand. You're taking supplements. You're supplementing what you're not getting from your foods,
from my foods,
right? So, what a lot of people don't realize is CBD is in our food, or used to be in our food. There is nowhere near the amount that used to be in our food because they stopped feeding the animals hemp back in the 50s.
And
if you go back, and that's when the war on drugs came on. If you go back and look, number wise, to see when we started having such a huge rise of autoimmune disorders like arthritis and irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's and all these mental deficiencies and issues that we're having, autism, it started cropping up then when our food supply had been genetically modified and the animals weren't getting the hemp. Well, that's when
you get into all the GMOs and you have food that's now
modified
non-GMO.
Organization. Right.
And Shayna, just to clarify, and I agree with you, Pete, the provided data versus personal experience is not a political stand, it's reason. I completely agree. What I am saying when I say that is, yes, we have the actual data, but what is being shared via the political parties, the people in politics, our government and the media does not match what the data tells us. Right. That's how it becomes politicized.
Well, why does I don't watch a lot, but why does one TV news CNN says one thing and then MSNBC says something opposite?
It's because of their backers.
They're who they're owned by. It's a political business, right?
But let's. I'm going to go back to something that Gary said, and for everybody out there listening, I want you to really listen to this because in Singapore there's 3 million people that live in a square mile or whatever.
No, 21,000 per square mile.
21,000 people per square mile.
Yeah,
okay? That is so packed.
Now listen.
Oh my God, that's packed.
But of course, it's vertical.
37 deaths.
Yeah.
65,000 cases. 65,000 COVID.
They have followed protocol for their country. They've gotten vaccinated. They
wear masks.
They wear masks.
We have to contact trace everywhere we go. We have to log in with a phone or a digital token that's issued to every citizen and a long-time resident here. So the token, as you enter any shopping center, any stores, anything, you just tap on it and then it tracks. Yeah, we know that people say that it's big government tracking, but hey, we need to contact trace you if there's a case that is next to you.
They're doing it anyway.
They do it, and here we pay
We
pay
call
for
it
our
cell
contract.
phones.
We
That's
call
right.
it cell phones. Yeah, you pay stupid money for them to track you.
That's right. So obviously it works. Now, I don't know their reporting as opposed to our reporting because again, this is in America has become a political pandemic. It hasn't become a health pandemic.
No, not at all.
But if in the same amount of time, if you go to the quote unquote CDC or WHO statistics for deaths in 2020, cancer deaths substantially decreased for the first time ever.
Next to none.
The flu deaths, there were virtually zero.
Yeah, one of my
deaths
best
by
friends.
flu.
One of my best friends died of cancer, and they called it COVID.
So, you know, as we take a look at it, there's that we've got to maintain a fear here in America. We have to scare you to act, right? We have to try to do that to get people to
It's a
act.
controlling thing.
Otherwise, it doesn't go anywhere 9 times out of 10. Now, again, you know, my kids have all been vaccinated for everything, right? My son has gotten the vaccine. He's in the military for COVID. My wife has as well. My 2 oldest daughters are adults. I let them make their own decision. They work in a hospital setting. One does and one's going to. You know, I don't ask them if they've gotten vaccinated because it's really none of my business, right? It is what it is.
Yeah.
Our 12-year-old daughter here in her school district, if you are vaccinated, you don't have to wear the mask right now. If you're non-vaccinated, you do, right? She has been vaccinated for everything else, right? Polio, mumps, measles, chickenpox, you name it. And so we had a conversation with her about the COVID. She has not had COVID-19. It ran through her house. She might have been asymptomatic or whatever, but she did not test for it. So the idea is that you know, she's going to get the vaccine, and we're okay with that because we as a family did our research and we walked through it and talked through it. And as a parent for your minor, you have to make that decision, not the minor, right? So that's what we're deciding to do, and we feel comfortable with that. I have T cells in me because I fought the disease for 14 days. So yes, you are correct. When it says that your antibodies only last about 90. That's true. But you have T cells that are built up. It's much like the mRNA that they're trying to put into you that does that. So to me, I'm probably more vaccinated than somebody who's never had the disease and has gotten the shot.
Well, because you have the directly related T cells. You don't have a synthesized protein that resembles the vaccine protein, which is what this vaccine is. It's a prototype protein that your body goes, oh, okay, this is the protein we fight. Hey, that protein looks like this protein we know how to fight, so we're going to fight that protein from the virus. But your body actually fought it, so it knows exactly what it is, and it says, we got this, guys, no problem. So you know, it's
that's the way that I look at it. Now, again, at my work, if we are having a meeting in a small boardroom, if you haven't been vaccinated, you have to Zoom in or whatever, right? But I can walk around that entire place without a mask.
So let me ask you this then. All right, if you had the shot and you're supposed to be immune, so to speak, right? Why do I, if I have not had it, because if I haven't had it and I'm pushing out the virus,
the variant,
and the variant, and you've been vaccinated or got the shot, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't.
You shouldn't be able to get sick. Why? I don't understand.
Well, you might. It just
I think perhaps that's where the
giving you something
misinformation comes in.
Right.
I just don't
I think
understand.
I think perhaps that's where I think perhaps you can point to what Scott asked that question is because I think that's probably where all this where the misinformation in the perhaps in the US part comes in, because everybody was under the impression that the vaccination is immunization, but from day one we've been here. Our Ministry of Health has stated very clearly this is not immunization.
Correct.
It is just to reduce the symptoms, the severe symptoms, such that you do
Correct.
not have to
That's
end
not
up.
the way it's been sold here in America.
Yeah, then I think that is probably one of the
Right.
biggest
Sold here in
problems.
America is that if you don't get it, you're gonna
You're
hurt.
dumber than I thought you were.
Yeah.
Which that comment, you're dumber than I thought you were. Maybe that person's smarter than you even know.
Yeah, actually, yes.
They made an educated decision, not based on what you said.
Now, I will
All right.
say that everyone here, all the people pushing the vaccine has been very careful not to call it an immunization. So, and Gary is 100% correct there. There's a big difference
Yeah.
between being immunized against something and being vaccinated.
Yeah.
And I don't know that a lot of people actually understand or realize that.
Yeah.
Because, again, especially here in
Correct.
America, where you've got 330 some odd
America.
million people,
Right.
Correct.
most of which, and this is just simply factually true, most of which have an 8th grade
We're done.
comprehension level, 8th grade reading and comprehension level, most of which have that. You're just not inclined as a member of the general 330 million populace to go out and research this and understand the differences between a vaccine and an immunization and what that is and what it does for you and what either does for you. And it's just, and even if I would choose to do that, even if I would choose to do that, I because of blood allergies and such, I'm not an eligible candidate anyway. So, but it's just, again, if it's what you want to do it. If it's not what you want to do, don't do it. I don't care.
This guy.
So,
Blood allergies.
Right.
Listen, I really want to thank everybody for tuning in. But
Yeah.
here's the bottom line that Scott and I will always preach, and Scott says it at the end of every show is,
we blew past the bottom of the hour, didn't we?
be good. Just be good to people. And you know what? I don't care if you are sick. I don't care if you are vaccinated. You're a human being. Love one another. Just be happy and stay in your space. And if this is an upsetting topic for you, don't talk about it.
Or you know what? Give us information. Give us your thoughts. Let's I'm not against things. I want to learn. Hey, if you're going to bring up something new to tell me that that you're wrong, I'll admit, hey, I'm wrong. I didn't see that coming. But I feel like I'm right. But I don't also push it on. If you decide to get in a shot,
good for you.
Right? That's your choice.
Yep.
But don't tell me that I'm wrong because I'm not doing it. Because if everything the CDC says is right, then why do I have to wear a mask if you've gotten the shot that should stop you from getting it?
That's right.
You can't immunize against a virus.
That's
you can You can get a vaccine against a disease, but not a virus.
Inoculated.
You can get inoculated. People, just take care of yourself. Eat healthy. Take good care of your
Wash
mental.
your hands.
It's become more of a
Stupid people.
more of a mental and health issue than it has become a physical health or a physical issue.
That's right.
Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Help people out when you get a chance. If people just actually really just were, I'm going to use the word normal in this world, right? And not trying to always attack somebody else for something they believe or want to do,
Amen.
Lives matter. Doesn't matter what color they are. Lives matter, guys. Be good. Be healthy. Tell the person next to you love them. Give them a hug because you don't know where it's going to happen today or tomorrow.
So come back at 9 as Bridging Civil Tension is going to talk about equity versus equality.
Oh, my goodness. I may have to stick around for that one. Guys, be good. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, love everybody. Life is too short to be a negative
Love you,
SOB.
man.
Love you too, guys. Be good. Gave me the shivers. You telling me you love me.
I appreciate you.